basketball in the ACC continues from the KFC Yum Center. Louisville, Kentucky for the 4th all-time meeting between the Louisville Cardinals and the George Mason Patriots out of the Atlantic 10 Conference, with David Padgett, the interim head coach, hitting the bench for the first time for the Cardinals. It is so great to have you with us for our game this afternoon. Tom Wormy, along with the former Duke All-American Mike Jaminski. And Mike, the first chance to take a look at the Cardinals here for 2017-18.
And certainly a year of transition, a start of a new era for this program with Dave Padgett taking over as head coach. But I don't think it's going to lessen the expectations of the fan base any.
Let's hear from Coach Padgett about taking over on the Cardinals bench.
I'll definitely be what our players would probably call a player's coach. I've been in their shoes. I've worn their uniform. And so I can relate to what they're going through. You know, from a basketball standpoint, a lot of it will be Coach Pitino influenced. Not everything, but like I said, I'll just take bits and pieces. I've played a lot of basketball for a lot of different people in all different parts of the world. So it's just, you kind of just got to touch on your experiences. You know, you got to go with your instincts, go with your gut on what you feel is right and what the right thing to do is, and hope it works out well.
And Mike, certainly a very important part of this equation here in Louisville is the fact that Coach Padgett wore the Cardinal uniform.
Yeah, he knows the culture. He's very comfortable here. Obviously, it's a lot different sitting in the head coach's seat, but he's going to build his own philosophy, obviously relying a lot on Coach Pitino, having played for him and coached under him, but over time he'll evolve his own style.
Time to talk about the players in our Hardy star to watch, and for the Cardinals, it's Dang Adele. Mike, if they're going to have a successful season this year, Adele has to come up big.
Well, and that's the one thing that Padgett has to rely on is a core of guys who have been in this program, who know the style, and the learning curve was kind of short. So, but Adele is definitely going to have to step up and be a big-time scorer. One
of the key returning pieces for the Louisville Cardinals this season as they get it started against the George Mason Patriots. It's the Cards and the Patriots coming up next on ACC College Hoops from Louisville, Kentucky, and the KFC Yum Center. We've got the starting lineup, the opening tip, straight ahead.
ACC College Basketball is brought to you by your local Ford dealer and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. The tools you want, you got it.
Derby City, our host on a Sunday. For the Patriots and the Cardinals, the number 16 team in the country. Their first true regular season game for the Cards. They've had a couple of exhibitions to get things rolling, but this is official against George Mason, which already has a win on the season. They beat Lafayette. Here are the starting lineups, and for the Patriots, you're going to want to watch number 4, Otis Livingston II. Averaged over 14 points per game and so solid from the free throw line. 85% for his career. That's the best in school history from the stripe. Quentin Snyder, also number 4 for the Louisville Cardinals. The leading returning scorer for this team, Mike, for the 3rd straight year. He comes back to lead them as they take on George Mason.
Well, and you look at Otis Livingston, this is a team, George Mason does not have a scholarship senior on the squad, so they are going to rely on him heavily, not only to score, but to make plays as well.
Time to take a look at our Ford keys to the game with Mike Jaminski.
I think, you know, George Mason, and then talking to Dave Paulson, head coach, before the game, it was a lot about transition defense and trying to get back, not give up easy points to Louisville. And for the Cardinals, they've definitely got a size advantage inside. They want to look to dominate the offensive glass if they have a poor shooting afternoon.
Cardinals played on Tuesday, an exhibition win against Bellarmine, which is located right here in Louisville, Division II, 72-57.
And who actually stylistically play a lot like George Mason. So, you know, Dave Padgett told me this, it was a good tune-up for this particular game.
Cardinals have won 54 of their last 55 home non-conference games, and they own the opening tip. Cards in the white and red, George Mason, green and gold.
Look for Louisville post up a little bit more this year, especially Spalding.
Spalding drew that double. They work it around. Adele for 3. A Mahmoud got boxed out by Marr.
And this is it's a small George Mason team, but they're going to have to rebound by committee in this game. You know, they're outsized almost at every position. So 5 guys collectively are going to have to get on the glass.
They won 9 games in Atlantic 10 play last year, the most since joining the conference 4 years ago. And that's the little baseline runner as Greer has the bucket.
And that's you know, that's a tough matchup for Mahmoud. A guy who can face up and put the ball on the floor.
Jair Greer, who was a double-figure scorer for this team last year, number 5 in green, has some NBA lineage as well. His father Jeffrey played in the association.
Played against him for the first part of his career, last part of my career.
Ian Boyd, the basket for George Mason.
And this is exactly the type of start that for George Mason, you know, come in and get some confidence, see the ball going through the hoop.
Cardinals went 25-9 last year, and it's Adele with the jumper.
You know, the loss of Donovan Mitchell was a big-time scorer for them. Mango Mathiang as well. It's not going to be one person who's going to pick up everything, but certainly Adele's minutes are going to expand.
You mentioned Donovan Mitchell, averaged almost 16 points per game, the best on the team last year. Turn around from Spalding, comes up short.
Yeah, see, he's got a big size advantage over Boyd, and had a good look. And you know, he's another guy who he's going to get a lot more touches in the low post this year.
These teams have not played since January of 1994. That was at Freedom Hall. The Cardinals won that game, Mike, 132-87. Snyder in transition doesn't get the spin.
Right, actually, for that, you know, usually a long shot will trigger a fast break, but I thought George Mason did a nice job getting back defensively. I mean, you know, Snyder was the only one making an attempt, and there was no offensive rebound.
Patriots won on Friday at home against Lafayette, 67-65. They shot 47% in that game. Their troubles came from the free throw line. Just 8 of 17. Shot clock all the way down to 1 and knocked away by Adele. A free lane to the bucket.
Wow, that's exactly what a defensive play, too. He bit on the pump fake, but was able to come back and get the block anyway, and then get the dunk on the other end.
Adele has all the points so far for the number 16 team in the country, and it's a kickball according to Jamie Luckey, who's joined by John Gaffney and Anthony Burris officiating.
There's the look. I mean, there's the pump fake by Kyer, but what a recovery. And that's the long arms of Adele getting it back. What a play.
6'7", 200 pounds from Melbourne, Australia. Born in the Sudan. Travel.
In the man-to-man situation, whoever Mahmoud is, they're trying to draw him away from the basket, get the shot blocker out of the lane, and whoever gets the ball and tees him up, they want to look to drive. But just got happy feet on that play.
The hallmark of this Louisville program: tight, suffocating defense. Mahmoud's pass bounces out of bounds.
Yeah, they were looking for a high-low action that time, but Mahmoud really didn't have a good angle. He probably should have taken a dribble or two to the left. Spalding had his guy pinned. Dave Paulson there coming over from Bucknell, and did a fine job there, and he's in the rebuilding process. And he's now in a new league and has been for a few years at the A-10 after having played in the Colonial.
Coach Paulson in his 3rd year as the head coach for the Patriots, with the shot clock down to 4. Mahmoud alters that shot. Greer can't save it. Louisville ball. We'll take a break. When we come back, a Louisville legend, Darrell Griffith, part of a national championship here for the Cardinals, and he will join us when we come back on ACC College Hoops from Louisville, Kentucky. Darrell Griffith straight ahead. We're tired in the early going here in Louisville, Kentucky, but we flash it back to the legend, Darrell Griffith, part of that 1980 national championship team He was the most outstanding player at that Final Four. And the championship win against the UCLA Bruins in Indianapolis, 59-54, the first championship in school history. His number, his image hangs in the rafters, and we are so pleased to be joined by the legend, Darrell Griffith, wearing the appropriate colors. Love the sweater, by the way.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
But it is so great to have you with us. What is it like to be around this program and to see things develop and get going for this new season for David Padgett, the interim coach?
Well, I'm excited about it. The talent is crazy, man. We got some extremely talented athletes. They're long. They're very athletic. Got some shooters this year, and they buy in. They could go a long way.
Darrell, do you think that the fan base is really going to rally behind Dave, having played here and been a part of this program?
Oh, yes. Our fan base is second to none. We rally around whatever product we got on the floor, whether it be basketball or volleyball. So I'm not going to have any problems with the fan base. We'll be here, and I think they'll do well.
Well, I'm sorry I missed the opportunity. I felt one game short of being in that Final Four in 1980. Joe Barry and Purdue got us, coming in. It would have been a fun part. But talk about how Coach Crum coached you guys. His first title, your first championship. How did that group come together?
Well, it was fun with Coach. Coach kind of let us play. I remember having a conversation with Coach. I was thinking about leaving, and he had got Coach Wooten on the phone, and Coach Wooten told Coach, hey, if you got some horses, let them run. And then the next year, we were off and running.
Yeah, was there a time, whether it was the year before or that year, that you guys realized you had something special?
Well, we had a lot of freshmen coming in with Roger McCray. We had Derek Smith and Uncle Wiley Brown, his brother Scooter. And these guys were athletic, as this team is. They just as hungry as everybody. And I knew that we had something special going into the season. They all worked hard during the offseason.
Darrell, as far as David Padgett, maybe take us into the situation that he is presented with. Last 3 years, an assistant with this program, obviously played here, and now he takes over as the interim coach. As Mike said, he did not get a lot of sleep last night before this first official game of the regular season. Give us your perspective on that.
Well, first of all, David would be the person that I would have chosen. If you brought another coach in, the players would have had to learn his system, or he was going to have to learn Rick's system that would have been owed to him. And also, with David taking the rim, it was a seamless transition. The players are familiar with him, and they know the system.
Adele on the drive and the layup.
Yeah, we talked about, with Donovan leaving, who are the guys that are going to step up, and, obviously Adele, and I think VJ King might be a little X factor.
Yeah, VJ's got to step it up this year. He's got tremendous talent. I think he played a little timid last year, but he played well, but I think he needs to be more assertive this year. And, of course, you got the Ray Spalding, man. He's got so much upside, Mike. If he just buckles down and give it every night, man, he could be a first-round pick.
How important do you think having Trent Johnson sitting beside Dave Padgett, a guy who's, had a lot of experience as a head coach?
Well, I think they did a good job bringing him in. You always want somebody with some experience on the bench with you that can kind of help guide Dave during his first intern season. So Trent's going to be a good person for him. Trent was assistant coach at University of Utah when I was at the Jazz, so I know Trent from way back. Met Trent in the barbershop.
Hey, people ask me, and you look to be in great shape. Do you still play or shoot?
No, I haven't played in about 20 years, but I keep myself in shape.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'd be a surgeon's delight if I got on the basketball court.
I'm not trying to rehab.
George Mason hanging tough in the early going with Louisville. We're joined by the legend, Darrell Griffith, part of that 1980 National Championship team. And Darrell, we were talking in the earlier stages of this half about how defense for this program has really been a staple over the last decade.
Well, Rick's always been a great defensive coach, and we've had some great defensive teams. No matter how we shoot them, we always come through defensively. That's what's kept us in the game. And this year, we got some shot blockers. I'm excited to see how the guys are going to respond. Great.
What do you think of number 13 working on the glass?
He's got. I was telling Mike, he's got so much upside. You know, he's homegrown, and I just hope Ray just puts it all together this year, and he definitely could be a first-round draft pick.
Well, that's, you know, I was at practice yesterday, and that's one of the things that Dave talked about is getting him more post touches than he would under, you know, Coach Tino.
Right. Yeah. Not only giving him more post touches, when he gets the ball, he got to go to work. Yep. You know, and if you give him more touches, I think it'll give him his confidence back.
You know, and Quentin Snyder's put in a position with, you know, a change of coaches, and he's the senior on this team, and not vocal by nature, but more of a leader. Who was the guy on your squad that was the vocal leader of the team?
Well, I was the vocal leader of the team. I think I was full circle, but we had some other players, Derek Smith and Waddy Brown. They were characters, but they weren't afraid to express themselves, and that's what you need. You need more than one person.
Yeah, I played with Derek in Philadelphia. He was a great teammate.
Oh, yeah. He was one of the best.
Darryl, 4th year in the ACC for Louisville. First of all, did you ever think you would see a day where the Cards would be part of this amazing basketball conference and bring so much talent to the ACC party and to that ACC tournament?
Well, I was ecstatic. It was one of the best moves that the university made. Tom did a great job of positioning ourselves to get into ACC. And if you had to look at the most important aspects of an athletic career, going into the ACC is the best for us so far.
Well, Darryl, this has been a real pleasure to have you join us, and we thank you, and hopefully you enjoy the season of the Louisville Cardinals this year. Thank you so much for stopping by.
It was a pleasure coming by to see you guys. Seeing my old Mike. We used to battle against each other.
It's great to have you.
All right, take care. Good to see you, Mike. All right.
Hi, our broadcast position to join us, part of that 1980 national championship team here at Louisville.
Yeah, we had a chance to play them the year before down in Charlotte, and had the good fortune to win that game. But they were just incredible in that run in 1980. And then I was lucky in that he played in the Western Conference with the Jazz for most of his career, but we get dunked on a few times by him. Glad to hear he's not on the court anymore.
You're right, Mike. He was in great shape, just ready to jump back out on the court. Although he says he hasn't played in 20 years, I don't know if I totally believe it. Just saying. You either, by the way. I've seen you out there at shoot-around.
Yeah, I'll go out and shoot free throws or something like that. But,
and make them all. By the way, Mike, George Mason has the lead here early on, 11-8.
Well, and the thing is that they've got Louisville shooting a low percentage, but only one offensive rebound. So that's been a big key for them.
On the run.
Offensive goaltending.
Will nullify the bucket for the Patriots.
And that's a shame because that ball was going in. And you just got to lay off that and trust the play. There's the block. It looked like it was going to, go in, but A.J. Wilson went up just instinctively and tried to tip it in. And this is one of the things too that Dave Padgett talked about, Tom, in trying to figure out the rotation now going forward, because he knows he's got that core that's going to start and play a lot of minutes, but he's also got new faces and very talented freshmen, and it's going to be trying to find that mix between the two.
George Mason had all 5 starters scoring double figures in the win against Lafayette on Friday. They're on quite a trip, Mike. 6 games in 12 days to start the season.
I think as the season unfolds for both of these teams, a great steal there that time by Kyer. But I think both these teams are going to rely heavily on their starting 5 as the season goes along, barring injury.
Green lost it. Spalding took it away. Right back to the Patriots. And now Kyer wants to slow it down.
His second steal in a row that time, and great. It's one thing to get back defensively, but it's all you have to have your head turned around, and he did that time, located the ball, made a nice play.
Coach Paulson told us they must rebound by committee. They are an undersized team in the Atlantic 10 as that's deflected by Adele. Last year, Mike, they had over 1,300 rebounds as a team. 1,370. That was a school record. Everybody has to crash the glass for this George Mason team.
Well, they had such a unique player in Marquise Moore. It's 6'2". He led the A-10 in rebounding, over 10 a game.
Yep. Top rebounding guard in all of college basketball.
Yeah, you don't see that, but their problem wasn't rebounding the ball; it was defensively, and that's where Dave Paulson said we need to get better as well.
That is a three-pointer by Boyd.
That's like the perfect possession for George Mason, to run as much clock as you can and then knock down a three.
Boyd has 7 points and creates the steal on the interior. Livingston had nowhere to go, had to back it out.
Livingston, the leading scorer, has been quiet to this point. Has not only taken 2 shots.
Livingston averaged over 14 points per game last year for the Patriots.
There's the look, and it was a great pitch and find that time by Livingston. We talked about him having, in the open, having to wear 2 hats, really. He has to be a creator, a facilitator, and a scorer.
Ian Boyd, who leads the way right now for George Mason in the first half, averaged about 6 points per game, so he's already got his average from a season ago. And this foul, he's going against George Mason.
Yeah, clicks that time. He was surveying what was happening in front of him. Spalding, nice quick hands defensively, getting the tip.
The freshman, Felix, picks up his first personal foul. He was 0 for 3 from the floor against Lafayette. Straight away from 3. Sutton couldn't connect. Spalding gets the foul.
Yeah, that time, again, a little frustration. You've got a Louisville team now shooting a 4-15 from the floor. And just, out of frustration, throwing Calix to the ground.
Cardinals have won 13 straight season openers and 22 their last 24. And 16 straight at home. 2-on-1. Adele. Style points, Mike.
Well, and he's really been the only player who's gotten anything in the open floor, and that was a good 2-on-1 break. And that all of a sudden now gets the crowd into it a little bit.
8 points for Danny Adele in the first half for Louisville. Trailing by 4 to George Mason. Boyd, free throw line. Dug out of the corner by George Mason. The layup won't go from Calix. Snyder. That's a 3. Darius Perry.
Well, that's always a big confidence builder for a freshman, and that was a terrific find by Snyder. Held on to the ball. It was a 4-on-3 break, and he found the open guy.
1-point game. Mahmoud cuts it out of bounds. Patriots basketball.
And I think that right now, Dave Paulson's just trying to get this under 8 minutes and not have to burn a timeout here. A little bit of a run. Here's the look, and you see that find. And you're a freshman, you hit a shot like that, the basket opens up for you.
Cardinals as a team last year shot 35% from three-point distance. That was 12th in the ACC. Shot clock winding down for George Mason. It's Snyder on the break. Perry.
Changing up now with George Mason playing the zone.
Snyder's open. Three-pointer miss. Mahmoud. Up and under.
Well, he's another guy who they're going to have to get offense out of. They play a lot of high-low with him up at the high post. But especially in this game, they've got to have his length pay off.
And with that basket, Louisville, on that 7-0 run, has taken a 1-point lead. Snyder. 3-on-3.
he was waiting for it, but Dave Paulson forced to take a timeout in that situation.
A 9-0 run. Snyder with the layup. 17-14 Cards. The location for our game this afternoon, Dang-a-Dell coming alive in the first half, Mike.
And we touched on that in the open, Tom, that a guy who's going to have to step up. He's been very active defensively, good out on the open floor. Starting the game 4 of 8 shooting. Easy to do that when you have a couple of dunks, but the rest of the team only 12 field goal attempts. So clear early on in this year, they're going to look for him and Snyder, I think, to give them a spark offensively.
Those 8 points lead all scorers so far in our first half. The 9-0 run for the Cardinals to take the lead, 17-14.
And I think, you know, in that timeout, Dave Paulson, I think just wonder, hey, yeah, 9-0 run, but we're only down by 3. Despite that, I think his team has proven to itself that it can play out on this floor. Maybe just a little restoring of confidence in that 2 minutes.
George Mason shooting 32% from the floor so far in the first half. Louisville 40% shooting.
Late whistle on that play. But Marr gets the foul.
His second personal foul, 14th foul.
That's the 4th on the team this half with 6:45 to go. So Marr at the free throw line.
For George Mason, they've got to be pretty happy. It's the rebounding battle is a push right now. Louisville won a +1 at 13-12.
So Sutton with his 2 personal fouls leaves the game and Spalding is back in. Donar Marr had a key 3-pointer with just under 3 minutes to go in the win against Lafayette. He ended up 3 of 4 from 3-point distance in that victory to open the season for the Patriots. Adele traveled.
And in that situation, we've already seen Kyer have 2 steals in this game, and you know that far from the basket, he's got a little bit of an advantage in defending Adele.
David Padgett, just the 3rd head coach in the last 46 years for this Louisville program. 3 years as a player, a couple of years professionally playing in Spain. 3rd youngest head coach in the Power 5. At 32 years old.
Something to be said for stability.
Deflected, shot clock winding down, and it is a shot clock violation against George Mason.
I wonder if Dave Padgett is not only one of the youngest, but one of the tallest head coaches in Division I.
Absolutely. He's looking at you eye to eye, G-Man.
You know, it's funny, you don't see, I mean, you know, whether in this level or next one, a lot of centers who are head coaches. It's just an interesting phenomenon. Usually, you know, it's the guards, the point guards who go on to do that.
I can think of one that immediately comes to mind, is Patrick Ewing in Georgetown. He's former assistant with the Charlotte Hornets.
Going back to his alma mater.
Adele. Long rebound to George Mason. All the way to the basket. With the rejection of the shot from Greer. Perry in transition. And they get fouled. Going strong to the rack.
Well, that's one thing we know Mahmoud can do is defend the rim. And this is just terrific hustle getting back. And actually, it was really Perry that helped the play to get in the way, gave him time. And not only did he block it, Tom, more importantly, he kept it inbounds. And that's what started the break.
Darius Perry, the freshman at the free throw line.
Asked Dave Padgett, he said, to this point, which of the freshmen have come the farthest? And he said, it varies. He said one day it'll be one of them, next day it'll be the other one. And, you know, and it's, you know, for right now, Perry hit that 3 early. It's given him a lot of confidence, but I think it's going to be that way all throughout the year as freshmen.
The lead up to 4 for the Cards with 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. Tom Wormy, Mike Jaminski, and our outstanding ACC College Hoops production crew with you from Louisville, Kentucky, in the KFC Yum Center. 8th season.
I think at some point Livingston is going to have to be more aggressive looking for a shot.
King. Difficult shot. Spalding tapped it back to King in traffic. An attempted save by George Mason. It's out of bounds off the Patriots.
I think that was more of a shot of frustration by V.J. King, as Daryl Griffith talked about. He thinks he's one of the guys that has to step up, and only his second field goal attempt in the game.
Adele thought he got bumped on the arm by Kyer.
Adele's looking over and said, "I'm not that bad a shooter. If I didn't get hit, I don't miss by that much."
You can see by his expression, he thought maybe there was some contact. 8th season, Mike, in the KFC Yum Center. Louisville is 107-14 and 63-3 against non-conference teams. Very difficult to come to this building and win if you're the visitor.
Such a great venue and really knowledgeable basketball fans, too.
Spalding went for the jam.
Looked like he would have been better served to just put that off the glass. Looked like he was a little bit too far away. Now, Daryl Griffith in his day could have done that, but you just have to get the bucket at this point.
If you're just joining us, Daryl Griffith, the legend here at Louisville, joined us earlier in the first half. His number in the rafters, number 35, here at KFC Yum Center after the 3 from George Mason to cut it to 1.
Yeah, and that's right now almost half of their field goal attempts are threes, and they're going to have to shoot a better percentage to stay in this game.
Looks like Boyd picked up his second personal. Some free throws coming up for the Cardinals with a 1-point lead. 3:49 to go in our first half. Your interim head coach, but so accomplished right out of high school, Mike, as an All-American. 1 year at Kansas and then on to Louisville.
Yeah, 3 years here, and actually had to sit out the year that they made the Final Four in 2005. Would have been a nice addition to that team. But, then sitting on the bench next to Coach Pitino for a couple of years. And I think it was a really wise decision. There you see the last 4 head coaches. And you see going back to 44, this is only the 5th head coach they've had.
Denny Crum responsible for a couple of national championships.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to come out of the chute for Coach Crum, that Final Four, and then, of course, the championship with Daryl and that team in 1980, his first one, and then in 86. And it was 86 was Mike Krzyzewski's first trip to the Final Four, and that's what they beat in the final.
72-69 in Dallas.
Never nervous, Purvis Ellison.
King has his first point of the game. This court has been dubbed Denny Crum Court. Obviously for good reason, as we just documented.
It was actually a decent job by George Mason. They come out of the timeout in the trap at half court. They handle it pretty well, but the clock is on their back now.
Shot clock is at 4. Grayer misses. Offensive glass. That was Marr. Number 0 for Mason. B.J. King.
They've done a decent job of George Mason of keeping Mahmoud out of the lane area. He's been out of the perimeter a lot defending players. He had that one spectacular block, but they've been able to get to the rim a little bit and get on the offensive glass.
2 points for Mahmoud so far. told you that Marr had double-figure points in that game against Lafayette, the win for George Mason. First freshman since Luke Hancock, who started his career at George Mason, had double figures in 09 to start the year against Liberty when he scored 11. Of course, Hancock, a key component and the most outstanding player at the Final Four in 2013. Rattles out for Snyder.
And only 4 second-chance points for Louisville.
George Mason has taken the lead, 21-20. Adele behind the line. Tries to follow his shot. Potential 2-on-1. Pass was behind Livingston.
That was a good no call right there. He kept his foot on the ground.
Three-pointer. Otis Livingston. Timeout, David Padgett.
Well, that Livingston basket comes at a perfect time. We talked about him maybe becoming a little bit more aggressive at the end of the half, but that was a great pump fake and look. They haven't been afraid. Like I said, you saw that time that Mahmoud out there, and then the lane area has opened up, and three-point shooting okay so far. But if you had asked Dave Paulson, you know, at the 2-minute mark, would you like a 24-20 with 4-point lead? I think you'd sign up and go right to that point.
Good chat with Coach Paulson prior to the start of this game. He's worked his way up through the ranks. Mike, you mentioned he coached at Bucknell. He also coached at Williams College in Massachusetts. Took that program to a Division III national championship.
Yeah, that was his alma mater, too. Not easy thing to do, but certainly you look at his bio, and he's paid his dues over the years to get to this point.
Last year, the first 20-win season in 4 years for George Mason in the Atlantic 10. King bouncing to the rim. That foul's against the Patriots.
A shooting foul that, and this is, you know, maybe where King can get settled in. He's really been hunting his offense, I think, for the last 6-7 minutes, looking for a shot. Maybe not letting things come to him, but here at the free throw line, maybe gain some rhythm.
So Green picked up the foul, his second for George Mason. That puts King at the free throw line.
This is a game, Tom, has proven to this point, and I think the crowd a little back with this, you know, being down 4 points, but Louisville has got to create their own energy. They can't rely on this big crowd to lift them up.
Next week on ACC All Access, we recap the men's soccer championship. Defensive tackle Christian Rook reveals the best thing about leading Clemson football to the national title last year. It's next week on ACC All Access. Check your local listings on the regional sports networks.
Well, the committee is going to have an interesting decision, or many decisions to make on Tuesday when that new ranking comes out.
There's more football to play too, Mike. Some interesting games down the road.
There was some carnage at the top last night.
Number 1 Georgia losing to Auburn.
Notre Dame went destroyed by Miami.
Miami was impressive. By the way, Clemson beat Auburn earlier in the season. The Tigers, as the defending national champs, have already clinched their spot in the ACC title game December 2nd in Charlotte against Miami.
I know Charlotte is thrilled about that, too. What a great matchup to have in the title.
It's going to be awesome. Both you and I live in the Charlotte area, and that city is going to be bouncing off the walls when the Canes and the Tigers come to town December 2nd. The ACC championship game. He's come up short.
And he's going to get bailed out by the foul that time. Greer just got him on the arm. But again, a one-on-one move. You look at Louisville. They've got only 3 assists so far in this first half. So a lot of players looking for their own shots.
Mike, if you're David Padgett, how do you evaluate the play of your team so far in the first half?
I would say, you know, one, he's upset that he's not getting more on the offensive glass. I think that, you know, George Mason has probably found a rhythm and a confidence that he would prefer not to have had happen in the first 20 minutes. You know, really, Adele has been most of their offense, and the only one who seems to be playing with a lot of confidence. Snyder is only 1 for 6 so far.
Rebounds are even at 18 apiece in this first half.
Now they've got everybody. There's no real post presence. George Mason really has Louisville spread out.
Three-pointer off the mark by Marr. 50 seconds to go in the first half. Snyder, the handoff to King, who gets cut off. Mamoon wants it. Demands it. Those old school sky hook, it bounces out. Did everything but score.
Yeah, see, that's the play right there. Perfect example. Both Snyder and Mahmoud had an opportunity, came up empty, and George Mason goes down the other end of the floor. That has to be a bucket.
Tied at 24. It's about a 7-second differential. Shot clock to game clock. Livingston. Tough turnaround. Chance for one last attempt, but it was Spalding.
You know what happened? Spalding heard the shot clock horn. He thought it was the end of the game horn, and it got him crossed up a little bit, and that's what caused the travel.
Looked like he almost wanted to heave it from half court. Right there.
You looked in, and that's just you've got the ball, you're behind, and you got a chance to, or you're tied, and you got a chance to, maybe end on a positive note, but then you give the ball away.
5.5 seconds for George Mason. Hanging with the number 16 team in the country, and they've got the lead going at halftime. Grayer with a 3 to close it out. His third 3 of the half and 11 points.
And see, that's exactly, you know why Dave had this grabbing and tearing his hair out. That's the reason. This is only his first game, but they're taking a look, and definitely there's no question that's good. But what a terrific shot by Grayer.
So perhaps a bit of a surprising result in the first half as the Cardinals trail the upstart Patriots, with the teams going to the locker room 27-24 after the first 20 minutes of action. We've got halftime activities straight ahead from the KFC Yum Center. This is ACC College Hoops. 27-24. We are ready to start the second half from Denny Crum Court and KFC Young Center.
And I think there is a little bit of an advantage for George Mason having played an actual game, against Lafayette on Friday.
It was a very close win for George Mason at home, 67-65. This is Boyd, and that's a three. So they end the first half with a three, Mike, and they connect to start the second half.
Louisville on the game, 1 of 10, now 6 of 16 for George Mason. Over half of their field goal attempts from three, so Louisville's going to have to do a better job of defending that three-point line.
It's an offensive foul.
And then, again, another play that, where King just really trying to force things that time off the dribble.
Mike, we take a look at our game summary brought to you by Husqvarna.
The rebounding really kind of jumps out at me. You wouldn't think that would be an even battle right there. And then especially with the poor shooting by Louisville, the offensive rebounding not there.
This is Boyd. And back to Louisville, which last year at the ACC tournament, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the Cardinals had the double bye, Mike, as the number 4 seed, but lost to Duke, the eventual ACC champions at that tournament.
Congratulations to Mike Krzyzewski last night, his 1,000th win at Duke, and really fitting it comes on Veterans Day, I think, as well. And on that play, Mahmoud, finally, they're starting to get some points in the paint and production down low from their big guys.
Coach K with his military background, playing at Army, coaching there as well. In tight, off the glass, and good. Kyer.
They've not been shy about putting the ball on the deck and going inside against that size.
Mahmoud comes in, trying to rip it away.
Came down out of bounds on that play.
Darius Perry returns for the Cardinals. 5 points in the first half with Perry, who made a three-pointer and a couple of free throws. The hesitation, challenging Mahmoud. Kyer couldn't get it. Mahmoud showing off the dribbling skills. Snyder from the corner. On the weak side, everybody has a chance at it. Out of bounds and will stay at the center of the floor.
And maybe not applicable in this game, Tom, but it's going to be interesting to see as the season goes along how this Louisville team, they've got great players, but they've lost a lot of the size and strength inside, and how are they going to react to playing against the more physical teams in the league?
Adele with a tough follow-away as he hits the deck, but makes the shot. Double figures for Adele with 10, Mike.
He's desperately trying to keep his team in this game.
Last year, the Cards only allowed 66 points to the opposition. That was third best in the ACC. Grayer took the shot, and the whistle against Louisville. That's Adele, his first.
I've been really impressed with Grayer coming off the bench, double figures in that first half, and that was a nice step away on to create some separation.
Adele led the team in their most recent exhibition with 21 points and 7 rebounds.
He's the one guy, he actually declared for the draft last year, but withdrew his name, and I'm sure nobody knew at the time how eventually it was going to transpire, but I'm sure Dave Padgett very happy to have him on the floor.
Grayer now with 12 points for George Mason. Perry's rocking the three ball. His second of the game.
He's a guy, I mean, if you're a coach, and even though we talk about it day to day, but Perry's the one with the hot hand right now. Maybe you try to dial his number up more.
8 points now for Perry. Kyer
And it's, again, they got the switch, and Mahmoud, it's just a mismatch outside, and Kyler settling for the jump shot.
George Mason with that 4-point lead. Mahmoud unable to cut into it with the mid-range.
You know, Dave Paulson would love to have Mahmoud shooting 15-foot jump shots instead of being at the rim.
Mahmoud out to challenge the quicker Livingston. Ends up right in the hands of Blair.
This is exactly what Dave Paget didn't want. You don't want anybody to come in your building, and George Mason has essentially made this a 20-minute game, and they're playing with confidence.
Perry gave up the 3 for the entry to Spalding. Adele angling in and scoring.
You see, this team still, obviously first game, but not found their identity in the flow of the offense. It's been on one person's shoulder each trip.
Adele leads the way for the Cardinals with those 12 points. Crossover from Kyer. Marr had it blocked as a whistle. Perry got a piece of it, but also got a piece of Marr.
Perry's got to be careful as a freshman, barking too much. It looked like it was a pretty good play, but here's that one-on-one move inside, and getting on the offensive glass and getting it done against a much better team. Very impressive. George Mason up 4.
How about that form? The Cards, their second national championship, and here he is in person, Milt Wagner. Milt, thank you for your time and joining us here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
What'd you think of that video that you just saw?
Hey, ancient. That's all I got to say.
A little grainy, right?
And nice shorts, too.
But still, you got the ring for it. Take us back to the Final Four in the national championship.
Oh, wow, that was a big time because that was my 5th senior year. So I came back in of intentions of winning the Final Four, winning the championship. I knew we had a great team coming back and guys, a good recruiting class coming in, so I came back to redshirted that year and we was able to win the championship.
Now, you had plenty of experience at the Final Four. You'd been a few times before that, right?
Yes, that was my 3rd time, actually.
Right.
Went my freshman and sophomore year, so I want to come back another year so I could get that championship behind my belt.
Milt, obviously Purvis Ellison was such a huge part of that Final Four as a freshman. Did you see that in him early in the year, or he just grow into that?
He kind of grew into that. You knew he was good, but being that good, that quick, we didn't really know that. But as the season went on, you started seeing how special he was.
How did, I asked, we had Daryl Brisbane earlier, and I asked him, how did Coach Crum, how did he treat you guys? How did he let you evolve as a group?
Oh, well, Coach, he was very smart. We used to play the strongest schedule in the country, actually, and that pretty much prepared up for whatever we was going to go through in the tournament. And he used all his teams that way. And by tournament time, we was playing some of the best ball, during that year, and we was able to win a national championship.
Steal by Perry. Milt. Adele tried for the jam, and he got fouled in the process. As we watch this year's edition of the Cards, Milt, your impressions of what you've seen and what you expect to see from this team.
Well, I think we're very talented, long in length, and I think we're going to have a really successful season. Guys like to get up and down. Just like I said, they switch almost everything. You got 7-footers sticking guards that can move their feet. So I think we're going to give a lot of teams problems this year.
And Adele has been such a big part of this game, and offensively. Do you think it's good finally for them to be playing regular season games so the fans and everybody can move on from what's happened in the past?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure everybody's anxious to see what's going to happen, how our guys are going to react to everything that's going on. And so we're just ready to get out here and play some basketball and just start winning some games.
Milt, David Paget takes over as the interim head coach. What do you think he faces? Take us into his mind as a player, and now moving on from an assistant position to the head man as the interim head coach.
It has to be very tough for him, just to be appointed the head coach, being assistant coach, and not having no idea that you're just going to become the head coach of the University of Louisville. And this is a premier program also, so it's a lot of pressure on him, but I think he'll do a good job. He has some good guys on his staff that can help him through the way, and I think he'll do a good job.
What about what you said, managing expectations? I mean, anything short of a national championship here, that's the goal, right?
Well, being at the University of Louisville, that's the pressure you have, no matter what your circumstances is. But, I think fans understand the situation he's been put in, and I think they'll cheer for him no matter what. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. What do you think the former players, you guys, Daryl's won a championship, you've won one, and all the other past players, what can you guys do to help move this along and move it forward?
Well, basically, we give all the support that they need from us. We're here for the guys. We come to practice, watch the guys practice. Like I said, any advice we can give, we hear. I think as long as they know former players, former coaches, we have their support behind them, and we just want to see them do well.
Trying to turn up the defensive heat, and Mahmoud makes the steal. The big man with the dribble to the rack. They want to score the bucket. It wasn't foul at the very least.
Milt, I'm sure Dave Badger was tense with his big man more than 2 dribbles up the floor. Watch this play unfold.
Well, these 7-footers could do things that they never could do back when we played. But you got to allow that. When he can dribble the ball like that, you have to let him go. Hold your breath at the same time.
They gave the foul to Green, his third, with Mahmoud at the free throw line.
You talked about being a 5th-year senior on that championship team in '86. What role do you see Quentin Snyder, as a guy who's had a coaching change, but really the senior point guard on this team?
Right. Well, he's the glue to our team. There's no doubt about it. He was a leader last year. He's definitely a leader this year. He knows he's been through different coaches, and he can help these younger guys get through all the things that they're going through right now. And I think he's going to be the key to our success this year.
George Mason, Milt, with the 41-38 lead. I'm sure a lot of people in the building a little bit surprised at what's happened so far this afternoon.
Well, they're a good team. I mean, they went to the tournament last year, so they're a pretty good team. So you have to take everybody serious. There's no team that can't take anybody for granted out here, especially when you're reeling and you got different situations going on through the season. You have to step out and just do your job each and every night.
Spalding picked up his second personal foul.
Yeah, that's, and we talked to Darryl that George Mason's smaller, but they're taking Louisville's bigs outside, making them defend and shoot threes.
Exactly. Yeah, well, they know they can't do anything with our guys inside, so try to get our guys on the perimeter and beat them off the dribble.
Louisville maintains possession on a held ball situation.
I asked Darryl the same thing. Was there a game or a point in that '86 season when you guys realized that you had something special? Was it the beginning of the year, or was it something that happened over the course of the season?
Well, actually, I would say after a loss. Our last loss was against North Carolina State. But during that game, we knew that we beat ourselves that game. And after that, everything just kind of changed. I mean, we went on a roll, and we started playing some of the best ball of the year. And we wound up winning the 1986 National Championship.
Fans responding to the Cardinals. Blocked out of bounds.
Call a foul on that play. See if he gets 2 shots. Just a block ball out of bounds.
They did assess a foul to Adele. Not on the block. Rolls out of bounds. George Mason basketball.
For the most part, they've been letting them play in this game. There's very few free throws on either team, but just not great shooting. I guess the one thing surprising to me is that Louisville doesn't have many second chance points.
That's right. Yeah, well, you have to play through that. You will never know how the ref's going to call the games. You have to be able to adjust. And they let the guys play, so you have to go out there and just play through the physicality and make baskets.
George Mason led by 3 at halftime. Milt Wagner is joining us, a member of the 1986 National Championship team. And Milt, George Mason has a chance to make the lead 7.
Well, just like we was talking about earlier, they taking our guys off the dribble, the big guys. They because we switching everything on the perimeter. As soon as they find a matchup they think they can go to, they try to take their guys off the dribble, and that's what they're doing.
With 12 minutes to go in the second half, we'll take a timeout. We thank Milt Wagner.
Thank you.
From the 86 National Championship team.
Thanks,
here at Louisville. Milt's Cards have some work to do as they trail George Mason. Here at KFC Yum Center and Louisville, Kentucky. Patriots in front of the Cards. Great job.
See College Basketball is brought to you by the official corporate champions of the ACC, Food Lion, and Toyota.
George Mason by 6. Grayer leading the way with 17 points. That leads everybody this afternoon.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, it's very balanced scoring by George Mason. They got 3 guys in double figures, and not only does Grayer have 17 points, but also 8 rebounds as well.
That's Toyota. Let's go places. We go to the free throw line. And the miss from Kyer. He was trying to finish off a 3-point play. As it is, 46-40. George Mason in front of Louisville.
And I think George Mason has struck a nice balance between their 3-point shooting and their ability to drive to the basket.
That one stays down for Snyder. It's a 3 and the lead is sliced in half.
Yeah, he's starting to work and look more for his only shot. He's only got 1 assist in the game.
Short. Going to get Spalding. And the rebounding effort for the foul. His third.
So looking, you would think for him that he would not have to do that. 1-on-1, and this is an area, this is important now too, because George Mason, even with the lead, has left some points at the free throw line, 3 of 9 in the game. And missed the front end of the 1-on-1, that's a big opportunity.
This is Perry. He's got all the bench points for the Cardinals, all 8 of them.
The good news is that George Mason now going to be shooting free throws for the rest of the game at the 11th mark, and they're a little away from getting him penalty.
That's Adele, strong to the rim for the Cardinals. 15 points. Tang Adele. It's a 1-point game. Attempted follow. Basket interference.
Yeah, it's going to be hanging on the rim on that play.
So on this possession, as Boyd comes in for George Mason, a chance for Louisville to take the lead from Coach Dave Paulson. And the George Mason Patriots, who last played an ACC opponent November of 2015, they lost to Virginia in the championship of the Charleston Classic. In South Carolina, Spalding can't get it over the front rim.
And Spalding's the only big on the floor right now, and they played 4 around him that time. He got a good look in the paint, but at least they made him go to his left hand, and he couldn't finish.
2012 was the last win for George Mason against an ACC opponent. They beat Virginia at home in Fairfax, Virginia. Traveling violation.
Starting to see George now they've got to regain their poise and play with the looseness that they did in the first 30 minutes of this game. Easier said than done on the road against a program like this,
especially in this building, where Louisville is 63-3 against non-conference opponents. And they have never lost, Mike, in November against non-conference opponents. 29-0 in this facility. Snyder. He's going to earn some free throws. He was determined to get to the rim.
And you can see with this lineup out on the floor that George Mason really trying to pack it in defensively as much as they can to try to make Louisville, beat them over the top. But Snyder does a nice job getting to the rim.
Snyder shot 69% from the stripe last year. Had his career high last season against Kentucky. 22 points in that game.
Actually worked with a speed coach over the summertime to improve his Clippers, lose a little bit of weight because he knew he was going to be playing heavy minutes. And also be the catalyst for that fast break, and a freshman mistake right there. Wara trying to go for the steal that he couldn't get, and he puts George Mason at the line.
1-1 for Marr.
Some story with him that his family was in the Sudan. He had a sister who was battling polio, and they got her to the States, got the family to the States.
Snyder with the basketball. Louisville won that game against Kentucky last year, and they'll play him again this year on December 29th. That'll be in Lexington. They beat him at home last year, 73-70. Three from the corner.
Well, this is his reputation. Wara has range. Good setup in the corner that time. He and Perry have shown the ability to knock down perimeter shots.
First points of the game for the freshman from Buffalo, New York. Foul coming up against George Mason.
Grayer going to pick up the foul. Here's a look. And Snyder, the one thing he's really improved, Tom, is his assist-to-turnover ratio. And Quinn Snyder got up in the air, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but he did have an outlet.
Cardinals 4 of 15 from three-point range. They're on a 9-0 run and lead it by 3.
Tuesday on Fox Sports South.
Cardinals on a 9-0 run have a 49-46 lead over the visiting George Mason Patriots. This week we continue to tip off the college hoop season with more ACC college basketball action. Tuesday at 7, be sure to catch Florida State starting their season by taking on George Washington in Tallahassee. Then Friday, we'll have #1 ranked Duke taking on Southern University from the one and only Cameron Indoor Stadium. You don't want to miss a minute of the ACC College Hoops action. Check your local listings on your regional sports network.
And how about the game before that, #1 Michigan against #2, Michigan State against #1 Duke.
That's a good day. This is our Toyota Tweet of the Week. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Once again, Mike mentioned earlier in this game, Coach K with his 1,000th win last night as the head coach of the Blue Devils in his 38th season. It's another 3 out of the hot corner. It's Perry.
You got to be impressed with how the freshman, especially Perry now, he joins as a third double-figure scorer in the game. But he's perfect from the floor, Tom, but playing anything like a freshman at this point.
3 for 3 from beyond 20 feet 9 inches away. How about that little answer from Grayer? And he continues to lead George Mason in scoring. He's now up to 20 points.
I think you've got to now identify him as a guy. And that time, Mahmoud was a little reluctant to come out and get a hand up on the three-point shot. But you got to get locked down on #5 at this point. Great steal.
Grayer's got 5 three-point baskets. He's 5 of 8 from beyond the arc.
I'd give it right back to him because he's got Mahmoud playing him.
Boyd. Rope block. Livingston. Short. Wara was able to grab it. 52-49. 7:20 to go in the second half. Adele stumbles down and traveled.
Dave Padgett has gone away from having both Spalding and Mahmoud out on the floor at the same time. They've had to go smaller to cover the three-point shooters.
Cardinals up 52-49. 7:15 to go. Brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. $52-49. Cardinals lead the Patriots. 7:15 to go in the second half. Time to take a look at that Toyota Tweet of the Week, Mike, and it's about Coach K. Congrats from Greg Paulus, an assistant this year on the Louisville staff. Outstanding career as a Duke Blue Devil.
Yeah, and it's such one of the more intriguing careers. Leaves my alma mater, playing 4 years of basketball, to go to your alma mater and be starting quarterback in his 5th season. And he was a Gatorade Football Player of the Year coming out of high school, but decided to stay in basketball. Great run with Thad Matta up at Ohio State, and we talked about Trent Johnson, another great hire for Dave Padgett to have him on the bench. So you can look. I mean, 2 George Mason players in there, and 4 Cardinals, and you got to get that rebound.
First foul against Quentin Snyder, senior from right here in Louisville, Kentucky.
One shot, straight in.
Free throws were the issue in the game against Lafayette on Friday, where George Mason was just 8 of 17. And now they've cut that lead to 1. Patriots just 5 of 13 from the line in our game this afternoon. Perry.
Dave Padgett showing a lot of, and frankly, he's earned it in this game with the way he's played, but taking the ball out of Quentin Snyder's hand that time, letting him be a spot-up shooter and letting Perry work off that high screen roll.
Quite a debut for Darius Perry. 11 points, 3 of 3, and all of those shot attempts from 3-point distance. Freshman from Powder Springs, Georgia.
That went to Wheeler High School, which has produced so many great college players over the years.
Three-point lead for Louisville. 6.5 minutes to go.
Now the sense of urgency. First time Louisville's really extended the pressure up the floor. And that was more, I think, just to kind of eat some time off the clock.
Rebounds very close, G-Man. 29-28 with the edge to the Cardinals. Marr put on the brakes. Got it back, put it up on the glass, and got fouled.
I think that's more a function, Tom, of them spreading the floor out on Louisville and just making it very tough for them. It's gotten their bigs out on away from the paint area.
They gave that foul to Spalding. That's his 4th personal. Marr is now 5 of 10 from the line as Mahmoud comes back in for the Cardinals.
So either, if you're looking at Mahmoud, he doesn't have a foul in this situation, so they'd like to keep him on the floor for his shot blocking ability. But that's probably the last we've seen Spalding until at least probably the 2-minute mark.
6 points for Marr. They've all come from the free throw line. 1-point game. George Mason refusing to go away. Mahmoud was fouled on the entry as Marr was reaching in. Second personal.
And now it's George Mason has been in the bonus since about the 12-minute mark, and Louisville just got there with 6 minutes to go, but because of the misses, the Patriots haven't been able to take advantage of it.
Spins off from Mahmoud. Wide open 3. Greer couldn't get that
one. You're 5 from 8 for 3. You're thinking, all right, this one he was upset with himself for not going in.
Marr picked up his third personal. Mahmoud back to the free throw line. Cards have led by as many as 6 in the second half after trailing by 3 at halftime to George Mason.
And it's the second front end of a one-on-one that Mahmoud has missed, so you're giving away potentially 4 points in that 2 possessions. So you know what, Tom, every time that it looks like Louisville's going to go on a big run, that George Mason has really kind of reeled them back in. Some good timeouts by Dave Paulson.
Marr fires. Snyder corrals it. You will recall when George Mason went to the Final Four, Mike, in 06, they beat North Carolina out of the ACC on their way to the Final Four.
Beat some stout competition, then they beat UConn to get to the Final Four.
Snyder's pass is intercepted. Livingston. Grayer. Livingston crossover. Out of bounds. Louisville basketball.
You know, if you're the Patriots right now, you can't expect you've got to play through contact. You know, he might have thought that he was going to get that call to Livingston on that play, but you can't expect any kind of help from the referees in this situation.
Livingston with just 3 points. He had 14 in the win against Lafayette. He shot 50% from the floor. Snyder wants 3. Mahmoud tapped it to Adele. Got the defender in the air. Out of the corner for 3.
Well, Jordan Morris seems to like that left side, left corner. It's a split and 3 that he's buried from there.
Livingston trying to go by Mahmoud, who got a piece of it. Snyder had it knocked away by Grayer.
Good pursuit that time by Grayer, and you know, Snyder was thinking about pushing it, but he didn't have numbers, and that one almost went in. But good job by Mahmoud to keep that alive, and the defense in that situation, you get an offensive rebound, you lose sight of where your man is. Invariably, you get a good look at the basket.
Mahmoud made the defensive play at the other end with the block. He was second in the conference last year. Mike, just over 2 blocks per game behind the leader in blocks, Ben Lammers from Georgia Tech.
Never really has developed physically like they'd like him to, you know, a little bit, but still the great length and timing.
Wilson picked up his second personal. Mahmoud goes 7 feet 215 from Cairo, Egypt, and one of the tri-captains on this Louisville squad for 2017-18. Mike has missed another free throw.
He was only 46% last year, so, you know, no improvement. I know it's early in the season, but those were critical. The critical ones we really talked about with the 2-1 in front end of one-on-ones.
Louisville maintains its lead, 57-53. We're inside of 4 minutes to go.
College basketball is brought to you by the official corporate champions of the ACC, Geico, New York Life, and Bojangles.
First look at the Cardinals for this season, and they now lead the George Mason Patriots 57-53 after trailing by 3 at halftime. The Cards went on a 12-0 run to seize the lead midway through the second half.
Well, you know, it's interesting. They've got Spalding back in the game with those 4 fouls, and it's 3:47. So, you know, George Mason, if you can't hit a 3, you may want to try to attack him and see if you can pick up that 5th foul. But both of them, being in the game time, are liabilities at the free throw line. Mahmoud this afternoon is 2-7, and Spalding only 54% shooter last year. So I think if either one of those guys gets it in close inside, that you put them on the line and make them earn it there.
Kyer's got 14 points after the free throws for George Mason. Another 3! Laura, 3 for 3 from long distance.
Right, and the catch and shoot that time, just fearless.
This from Grayer. Boyd the guilty person for Mason.
Well, at least now that Louisville's going to be in the double bonus for the rest of the game, so they'll be shooting. They don't have to worry about that front end of the one-on-one. But that basket gets a little smaller. Now at the end of the game, you know, Greer he's been so terrific in this game. He had a decent look too.
Cards have won 16 straight home openers. 13 straight season openers. 22 of the last 24. A lot of numbers working in the favor of the Cardinals as we go down the stretch in the Derby City. Adele came flying in with the defensive help. Let's see who gets the personal foul on the drive by Kyer. It is on Adele. Third from Dang Adele.
You know, it's amazing that George Mason is in this position with Otis Livingston. We touched on him in the open. Their guy only 3 points.
Livingston is just 1 of 9 from the floor. His basket was a three-pointer. Lead is 4 for Louisville. Number 16 team in the nation. Trying to follow up on the football team's win against Virginia yesterday to become bowl eligible. Shot clock at 8. Snyder recognizes. Adele. Difficult twisting shot. And he laid it in.
That's what you need, the guys who are unafraid at the end of the clock to make plays like that. And a good swing of the basketball gave Adele a driving lane.
17 points. Dang Adele. 6-point lead, Cardinals. Shot clock to 3. Marr got in behind the defense.
That was a terrific pass inside, too. Just a lapse defensively by Louisville, losing guys.
Inside of 2 minutes now, Mike, in regulation. Adele knocking down a 3-ball.
This is the time for him and Snyder to take over the game. And boy, has Dang Adele stepped up big time.
20 points for Adele, his first 3 of the game.
And hey, how about in a close game, too, that Dave Padgett's got 2 freshmen out on the floor.
Mike, if that one's on Spalding, that'll be his 5th. As we take a look at the ZMAX performance play from Dang Adele.
Yeah, that is not easy to go left and come back with your right hand. And but he has just made play after play. He was the one who really, Tom, kept them in this game early in the first half when their offense was going nowhere. And now he's stepping up and taking the big shots down the stretch.
The junior who shot 35% from three-point distance last year, making 44 of them. Back at the other end, Kyer at the free throw line.
I've been talking about Greer a lot, but Kyer has had himself a very nice game. And feeling confident. He's coming off a career-high 15 against Lafayette on Friday.
He led the team in three-point shooting a season ago for Coach Paulson.
Yeah, see, this is going to be an issue until these guys get confidence going down the stretch. I think either when Spalding or Williams right on the floor, and that Malik Williams, you got a freshman out on the floor to put a little pressure on him.
Williams, the 6'11" freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Short-armed, a little smile right there. He knows he short-armed it a little bit, but got away with it. Got a friendly roll. And this got, I mean, you look at him, he's 6'11", but I saw him in practice yesterday. He's got legitimate three-point range.
Mike, Louisville 25-0 when it comes to bench points. A couple of free throws right there from Williams. Timeout on the court. Louisville up by 7. Your Duke interim head coach David Padgett is looking for win number 1 this afternoon, Mike.
Hey, you know, Coach K was looking for his first at some point in time. It was a long time ago.
38 years later, he's got 1,000. Foul against George Mason.
It was funny. Trent Johnson yesterday was joking around with Dave Padgett. You know, when I started coaching, I had hair. You know, look at me now. He's completely bald. So this is what the future looks like.
Once the enemy gets beyond this perimeter. David Padgett. The emotions that he must be going through. Not only last night, Mike, when you said he told you he barely got any shut-eye, but leading up to today, coming to the building early, about 3 hours before tip.
Hey, and it's, you know, your first really, you know, real meaningful pregame speech that you talk about, pregame preparation, all that. And a lot of firsts today for the young man.
Mike, whatever he said to Darius Perry is working.
Both him and Jordan Wara.
Wara's got 10. Perry's got 15. He hasn't missed a shot all day. 3 threes and 6 free throws. Traveling against George Mason. Williams is back in.
And we talked about the free throw shooting, and it's interesting that Dave Padgett has gone to the freshman Williams as his size on the floor, at least on, you know, this end.
Perry's played 26 minutes off the bench. Wara 13 quality minutes, and he is also 3 for 3 from the floor. Mike,
only missed a free throw in this game. Some decent looks, showing a lot of poise. And I think it's, again, we talked about it, reflecting the fact that Dave Padgett has left them at an endgame situation in a very close game.
So, Mike, Louisville has made 8 3-pointers. Wara and Perry have combined for 6 of those made threes. Outstanding production from a couple of freshman players wearing the Louisville uniform for the first time in a regular season game.
That's a smart decision that time. Dave Padgett right there barking at Darius Perry to pull it back. He had visions of going to the basket, but he wanted him to run some time.
Two shots for number 2, Darius Perry.
So Coach Padgett continues to pace those sidelines, but it appears that Louisville, it's on its way.
And now you have last minute of the game, you have 3 freshmen out on the floor, including Malik Williams.
Get the feeling that those guys are going to get some significant minutes moving forward, because George Mason presented a challenge to Louisville. George Mason led by as many as 6 in that first half. A big 12-0 run to come storming back in the second half to grab that lead and maintain hold of it. Front rim for Grayer. And now the final 30 seconds. So probably a big sigh of relief from David Padgett, the interim head coach, is getting a standing ovation. He and his team are on their way to a victory, Mike.
Well, and, you know, I think this is just the start of the moving on process, and there's nothing more cathartic than playing real games. Let's get this season going, and let's focus on what this group can do.
Significant changes for this Louisville basketball program, but in good hands.
Yeah, absolutely, and I thought it was an inspired choice, and let's also give a lot of credit to Dave Paulson and his George Mason team in here for giving Louisville all they wanted.
Just 5.2 seconds to go. Victory number 1. for interim head coach David Padgett. 72-61 as the Cards get the victory, coming back from trailing by 3 at halftime. Dangadell led the way with 20 points. He was 9 of 17 from the floor. Wara had 3 threes. And the freshman showed up for the Cardinals. We'll take a timeout and come right back to Louisville.
Thanks, Tom. You know, Dave, the last thing I said to you at practice yesterday was get a good night's sleep. How did that go, and how did all the preparation up to game time go for you today?
Well, unfortunately, I got wrapped up in a couple of those late night football games, so I was up for a while. But I got about 5 hours of sleep. I was up ready to go this morning. And even though we played at 2 o'clock, it seemed like it was about 9 o'clock when that game tipped off. But you know, I was really proud of our guys. We came out, we couldn't throw it in the ocean to start the game, but we hung in there. We relied on our defense at the end of the game. We got a couple stops when we needed to, and I'm really proud of our guys.
You know, the guys who were here were good, really good, but you also got some really good contributions from your freshmen. Talk about the poise that they played with in this game.
Well, you know what, and I don't know if it's just because they're young or whatnot, but they come in and they're not afraid to shoot the ball. You know, obviously if they miss a couple, they're still going to keep shooting it, and it's great to see that confidence. But yeah, our bench was very crucial tonight, and you know, it's something we can definitely build on moving forward.
Well, congratulations on your first win as a head coach, and look forward to seeing you the rest of the year.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Mike, thank you. Dangadell led the way for Coach Padgett's team with 20 points. Snyder was in double figures with 10. Darius Perry had 17. Perry had 3 3-point baskets. And Wara also made 3 threes as the freshman made significant contributions. The bench outscored George Mason 29-0. And Louisville is a winner, 72-61. For Mike Jaminski and our outstanding ACC College Hoops production crew, I'm Tom Wormy saying so long from Louisville, Kentucky, where the Cards beat the Patriots 72-61.